They are the favourites to win the Champions League. They are the favourites to win the Premier League. But Merce, going into the weekend, their only win this year had been against Accrington. And after 90 minutes against Brentford, obviously they were dropping more points. And I bet I'd have been sat here tonight if that had finished 0-0 saying, are Liverpool going to blow it? Are they going to bottle it? But then on comes Darwin Núñez, wins the game 2-0. Did that therefore feel like quite a significant moment in their season?
I think it was a pivotal weekend. I really do. I think that result put the pressure on Arsenal. I think Arsenal are out doing their warm-ups. You know, it's 0-0. You're thinking, here we go, got a big chance here. You come back in and they've scored 2 goals in injury time. And it sort of puts the pressure on you. And I just think that was pivotal. Massive weekend. And I think for me, it's up to Liverpool now. And people say, oh, there's 16 games to go. There isn't 16 games to go. You know, they've still got to play some of the teams down the bottom. They're near on give me games. You know what I mean? They've probably got about 8 games, 9 games left top. So for me, it'll be Liverpool's to throw away now. There's no doubt about that.
And it's, you know, not for the first time this season they've come on strong and changed things in the second half of games, Clinton. They've scored 19 more goals in the second half of matches than they have in the first. We saw it in the Forest game as well. How much credit should we be giving Arne Slot then for what he does in the second half of matches?
No, huge credit. I've said it many times. The job he's gone in and done has been fantastic. And listen, sometimes it works for you and makes substitutions as it works. It's the luck of the draw. But I've seen it when I was at Forest. He brought on Tsimikas and Jota. Tsimikas puts the ball into the box and Jota gets the free header. So everything he's touching now is turning to gold. But yeah, Núñez come on and had a big effect because they didn't have Jota. Jota made an impact in the midweek against Forest, but they had Núñez who can come on. And sometimes when the forwards are not firing, I heard Merce say it about a month ago. He said Liverpool will always score goals. No matter who the starting front three are, when you look to the bench, they have players that can make a big difference. And on the weekend, it was Darwin Núñez.
Liverpool have actually scored 10 Premier League goals in the final 10 minutes this season, which have earned them a total of 6 extra points. Without them, they'd be level on points with Arsenal and Forest. Darwin Núñez, Jamie, 7 goals and 4 assists as a sub in his Liverpool career, which is the most in the Premier League since he joined. I know he wasn't signed as an impact sub. Is that what he's becoming?
Well, he certainly won't want that label. There's no chance about that. When you come in and you come in as the main man, as Liverpool's centre forward, there's no chance that he's speaking to people about, I'm happy being a super sub. Not a chance. But I just think it's about confidence for strikers a lot of the time. We know one thing is guaranteed from him, and the fans are taking into him straight away on the back of his work rate. No doubt about it. He's a handful the whole time. Whatever happens, he gives, just on the back of that, he gives Salah more space and the boys in behind to operate. But obviously, he's there to score goals. I think that you come off the bench sometimes, the game opens up a little bit. It's not as tight, particularly in the second half, and you get more opportunities instead of him playing for 70 minutes and coming off. But no, look, for them, him being confident and scoring goals is a huge asset, obviously, moving forward to the second half of the season. But now he's got to find his feet and get himself in that starting lineup where he'll want to be.
Divock Origi held cult status at Liverpool, scoring big goals off the bench, didn't he, Michael? But you don't sense Darwin Núñez would be happy with that?
Definitely not. Different players. Sometimes you talk about Origi, he always seems to come on and he was never brought in as a big signing to go, well, he's going to be our number 9. Núñez was. And he isn't a clinical finisher, but I tell you what, come Brentford Saturday night, he was clinical when he came on after 65 minutes, and I think that's a difference for Liverpool, echoing what the guy says. They've got a squad depth that is better than anyone else. You talk about Harvey Elliott coming on, Curtis Jones coming on, Chiesa, who they only signed in the summer, cheap, he's had injuries, but he's still a good squad player, although we haven't seen an awful lot of him. And I just think Arne Slot, what he's doing at this moment in time, since he's come from the door, in fact, should I say, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's got a group of players that were arguably competitive in the Premier League, but came up short last year under Jurgen Klopp. But wow, has he turned it round. And you know, he's tweaked a few things here or there. He didn't have to make drastic changes. And I think when managers come in, I listen to Tony Mowbray on a different side. Come in, tweak a few things here or there. Don't try and change something that isn't broken. And all I can do at this moment in time is give Liverpool and Arne Slot compliments.
You think about who would be down the middle of Liverpool, and, you know, Jota, when he's fit, would normally be there. But he hasn't started a league game since October, Jota. He's been injured, of course. And Slot's gone with Diaz, hasn't he, down the middle? And Gakpo completes the front three, and Núñez is normally on the bench. But on the evidence of what he can do, should he be starting more down the middle for them?
I mean, he's come on and scored 2 goals. I mean, if you look at him this season, he's critical of missing good chances. You know, he's not a one in two chance. You know, 2 chances, 1 goal. He needs 5 or 6 chances, I think. You know, and you can't really afford that. You know, I think they need someone who's going to score goals. It is going to get tight up there. And I say that where teams are going to they've got that reputation now, Liverpool. Teams are going to sit 10 behind the ball. You know, for me, I don't think Núñez is one of them when the game opens up, and it did open up against Brentford, didn't it?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Went like a basketball game. And then that's when Núñez comes into his own. I think when it's a tight game and teams come and sit back, then you want your Jotas and people like that, your Gakpos and your Diaz's. So, for me, I wouldn't play him. I think he's a great weapon to have on the bench at the moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the other names there, all different types of players. And that wealth of options up front, Clinton, Salah, Diaz, Gakpo, Jota and the man Núñez, is that what, I think as they hinted there, really sets them apart from their main rivals?
Well, yeah, you look at Arsenal at the moment. They're not scoring goals. Saka's not there. They're not scoring goals. These lot have loads of goals in between them at the moment. So I'm not saying Arsenal not scoring goals. I mean, like the front players. If you compare them to the Liverpool front players, I think Arsenal have to have their best 3. And then when you look at their backup, you're thinking they can't have an effect. Like the Liverpool backup players are having an effect. Núñez sits on the bench. I think Mercy's spot on. I don't think Núñez can play in the starting team when teams are sitting behind the ball. But when the game spreads like it did against Brentford and they're spacing behind, he makes a big difference. Even Diaz don't like playing as a number 9. I was at Forest the other day. He kept dropping, and you can hear the manager saying, stay high, stay high. He wants to play on that left-hand side. Because Gakpo's playing so well, they don't really have that natural number 9. I think the number 9 they have is Diogo Jota, because he's the one who wants to go in behind, spinning behind. For me, I think he's their best finisher. People might say I'm crazy because of the numbers Salah gets, but when you watch Jota, his movement and the way he can finish when he's in front of goal, I think it's fantastic. And that's why I think it's Liverpool's to lose. And I don't think they will lose. I think they'll win the Premier League.
Yeah, and how important are all those options going to be as the months go on and we head into the final home straight of not just the Premier League, but the rest of the competitions they hope to still be going strong in by then?
Yeah, I think I go from what Mer said, is that teams will play in different ways against them depending on who they're playing. If they play against an Arsenal will be in a situation where they're going to have to go and win the game if the gap's like it is now, and it might suit a Núñez then to play. And that's the thing that Slot's got, is those different options, Jules, whether it's from the start or on the bench to come in. I don't think... I look at a lot of other sides and I think they've got one way of playing, which is great to have that philosophy, but they've only got the players to come in and be kind of like for like, but not quite as good. They've got different options and different ways to play because of the personnel and the way that they've recruited. So I think that is probably what gives them the edge in this run-in and being in the other competitions, for sure.
All right, so we're diving into Liverpool.
Okay.
Taking a close look at their recent performance, and you know what it means for their title hopes.
Right.
Our source for this deep dive is a sports podcast that's absolutely buzzing about Liverpool's 2-0 win over Brentford.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't just any win, was it?
Oh, it's fascinating how a single victory can just, totally shift the entire narrative, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that Liverpool had kind of a sluggish start to the year.
Yeah, for sure.
This win, especially those late goals, might just be the turning point.
You're telling me, remember that feeling of doubt that was creeping in earlier in the season?
Oh, yeah.
This win against Brentford felt like an exorcism, like they finally shook off those early season cobwebs.
For sure. And while this win is obviously a boost for Liverpool,
yeah,
you have to wonder what's going on in the minds of their rivals.
Right.
Especially Arsenal. Imagine warming up for your own match, and you hear that Liverpool just pulled off another late-game victory.
Oh.
The pressure must be immense.
Speaking of those late-game heroics, the podcast pointed out this crazy stat.
Okay.
Liverpool has scored 19 more goals in the second half of games.
Wow.
Compared to the first.
Okay.
That's got to be more than just a coincidence.
Absolutely not. This second-half dominance speaks volumes about their resilience and, Klopp's tactical adjustments.
Right.
Remember that victory against Forest a few weeks back?
Oh, yeah.
Another clutch performance with late goals.
Yeah.
It seems like they just wear teams down and then pounce when their opponents are vulnerable.
Okay, so we've got this late game magic happening.
Right.
But I have to admit, when I first heard people talking about Darwin Núñez as a super sub, I was a little skeptical. I mean, he's a top-tier striker.
Yeah.
Not some impact player off the bench.
It's a fascinating development, isn't it?
Yeah.
Initially, he wasn't brought in for that specific role.
Right.
But what Klopp seems to have realized is that Núñez's high-energy style, his ability to just wreak havoc in the opponent's box,
Yeah.
that's amplified when he's facing tired defenses.
So it's like Klopp's got this secret weapon.
Yeah.
He can unleash late in the game to disrupt the opposition, create chaos.
For sure.
The podcast even compared his impact to Messi.
Wow.
Obviously, they're different players, but the point is Núñez is a game changer even when he's not starting.
I mean, that comparison might be a bit of a stretch.
Sure.
But it highlights the impact he has.
Right.
He forces opponents to adjust,
Uh-huh.
throws off their rhythm, and opens up space for players like Salah to capitalize.
This brings us to a crucial point of comparison between Liverpool and their main rivals, Arsenal.
Okay.
While Arsenal relies heavily on their starting front three,
Yeah.
Liverpool has this incredible attacking depth.
Right.
You got Jota Gakpo-Diaz,
Uh-huh.
and of course Núñez.
Yeah.
This flexibility seems to be giving them a real edge.
Exactly. While Arsenal's bench might lack that same firepower, Liverpool can adapt to different game situations seamlessly. Imagine a high-scoring open match.
Yeah.
They've got Núñez ready to pounce.
Right.
In a tight tactical battle, they can bring in someone like Jota or Gakpo
Yeah.
who excel in those scenarios.
They're never out of options.
Never out of options.
So Arsenal might have a fantastic starting lineup,
Right.
but Liverpool can change gears whenever they need to.
Okay.
Okay, before we crown them champions, let's not forget about the man behind all this.
Klopp.
Klopp hasn't exactly overhauled the team this season, has he? It seems like he's taken a different approach.
You've hit on a key observation.
Yeah.
From what we're seeing, Klopp's approach has been more about refinement than revolution.
Right.
He's making subtle yet impactful tweaks to the system,
Uh-huh.
maximizing the existing strengths of his squad.
Yeah.
This consistency, this steady hand, has been instrumental in their turnaround.
It's like he's a master chef tweaking a recipe, just adding a pinch of this, a dash of that to create a masterpiece. But it's working.
It is.
And the podcast hosts even made a bold claim.
Okay.
They believe Liverpool, thanks to their depth late-game prowess and this tactical adaptability under Klopp, are now the title favorites.
That's a bold statement,
It is.
but they make a compelling argument.
Yeah.
Don't forget those 6 extra points Liverpool has earned from late goals.
Right.
That's the difference between them and Arsenal right now.
That stat really underscores their never say die attitude,
Yeah.
their ability to snatch victory from the jaws of a draw.
Uh-huh.
But before we get too carried away, I think we need to zoom out a bit.
Indeed, we've talked a lot about Liverpool's strengths.
Right.
But there's a whole Premier League landscape to consider.
All right, let's take a quick breather here.
Okay.
And then we'll delve into that competitive landscape in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
You won't want to miss it. Welcome back to our deep dive into Liverpool's title push.
We've been dissecting their impressive form, but now it's time to kind of shift our focus to the bigger picture.
Right, because even with all those advantages we talked about,
Yeah,
the Premier League title race is never a walk in the park.
absolutely.
It's a grueling marathon
Uh-huh.
with twists and turns.
For sure, and even the most informed teams can stumble.
So what are some of the potential roadblocks that could derail Liverpool?
Well, let's start with the obvious.
Yeah.
The competition.
Yeah,
We touched on Arsenal,
right.
but we can't forget about the other contenders.
Yeah.
You know, Manchester City, Chelsea, even Manchester United.
Yeah.
Each of these teams poses a unique threat.
I'm especially wary of City. They've got this incredible squad depth,
Yeah.
and you've got Guardiola's tactical genius,
Right.
which makes them a perennial force to be reckoned with.
And even though Chelsea has been a bit unpredictable this season,
Uh-huh.
they shouldn't be underestimated.
Yeah, I agree.
A new manager, a talented squad,
Right.
and a history of upsetting the established order, they could easily become a major player in this title race.
And then there's Manchester United. They seem to be finding their rhythm under Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Could they be a dark horse in this race?
It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility, is it?
Not really.
The point is Liverpool can't afford to take their foot off the gas.
Right.
They need to maintain this intensity
Yeah.
and focus week in and week out.
Any slip up could be costly.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of potential pitfalls,
Uh-huh.
the injury bug is always lurking.
Oh, yeah. Always lurking in the shadows.
We've seen how a single key injury can just completely derail a season.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Liverpool's squad depth is a major advantage.
Sure.
But if they lose several key players to long-term injuries, it could have a significant impact.
Yeah, just look back a few seasons ago
Right.
when Van Dijk's injury exposed their vulnerability at the back.
Exactly. And it's not just the physical absence of the player.
Right.
It's the psychological impact as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It could affect morale, disrupt team chemistry,
Uh-huh.
and create this sense of uncertainty.
It's a chain reaction.
Yeah.
One injury leads to another, and suddenly you're scrambling to stay afloat.
Right.
And on top of injuries,
Yeah.
there's the relentless fixture congestion.
Right.
Remember, Liverpool is still competing in multiple competitions,
Yeah.
including the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's a lot of football in a short period of time.
All those games can take a toll on the players,
Yeah.
both physically and mentally.
Yeah, for sure.
Fatigue sets in, increasing the risk of injuries,
Uh-huh.
potentially leading to a drop in performance.
And it's not just about that physical strain, is it?
No.
It's also about the mental focus required to compete at the highest level week after week.
Right.
It's a delicate balancing act for Klopp.
He'll need to manage his squad carefully,
Uh-huh.
rotate players strategically,
Right.
and ensure they're both physically and mentally prepared for the challenges ahead.
For sure.
It's a tightrope walk,
It is.
especially when you're chasing trophies on multiple fronts.
So while their recent form has been electrifying, the road to the title is paved with hazards.
That's the beauty of the Premier League, isn't it?
I guess so.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Even the strongest teams can falter.
But isn't that what makes it so captivating?
Yeah.
The thrill of the unknown?
The possibility of upsets.
The drama.
The drama of it all.
And for Liverpool fans, this season promises to be an exhilarating roller coaster ride.
It does.
They've shown they have the talent, the depth, the tactical acumen to compete,
Right.
but can they navigate these challenges and ultimately lift the trophy?
That's the million-dollar question.
That is.
Only time will tell.
All right, let's take another quick pause here.
Okay.
When we return in part 3,
Yeah.
we'll shift our focus to the tactical nuances that make Liverpool so formidable.
Sounds good.
We'll break down their playing style, analyze Klopp's tactical approach,
Uh-huh.
and explore the key elements that make them tick.
Okay.
Great.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our deep dive into Liverpool's title aspirations.
We've explored the competitive landscape and all the challenges.
The challenge is ahead.
Right.
But now, it's time to zoom in on what makes Liverpool tick tactically.
Yeah.
What are the key ingredients that make their style of play so effective?
Well, one thing that immediately jumps out is their relentless pressing.
Uh-huh.
It's become synonymous with Klopp's Liverpool.
Yeah, you know that feeling when you're playing FIFA
Yeah?
and your opponent just keeps swarming you every time you get the ball?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's like to face Liverpool's press.
It's like a pack of wolves hunting down their prey.
Right.
They're so aggressive and organized in their pressing, suffocating teams and winning the ball back high up the pitch.
And this isn't just about winning possession for the sake of it.
Right.
It's about creating those scoring opportunities.
Precisely.
By winning the ball back in dangerous areas.
Right.
They can quickly transition into attack.
And catch their opponents off guard.
It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
But man, it's been so effective.
And once they're on the attack, their movement and passing are mesmerizing.
It's a joy to watch.
Even with Núñez often coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Their front three is so dynamic and unpredictable.
It's a nightmare for defenders.
Yeah.
You've got Salah's pace and goal-scoring instincts,
Right.
Mané's trickery and vision,
Mm-hmm.
Firmino's intelligent movement and link-up play.
I mean, they can create chances out of thin air.
They really can.
And we can't forget about the midfielders.
Of course not.
Players like Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho,
Right.
crucial in controlling the tempo of the game
Uh-huh.
and distributing the ball effectively.
The engine room of the team.
They're the engine.
They are.
They provide the platform for the attackers to shine,
Yeah,
but also contribute defensively.
for sure.
It's a beautifully balanced system.
It is.
So we've got the relentless pressing,
Yeah.
fluid attack, midfield control. But what really sets Liverpool apart is Klopp's tactical flexibility.
Absolutely.
He's a master of adaptation.
He's not afraid to tweak formations,
Right.
adjust pressing intensity,
Yeah.
exploit weaknesses.
Remember that match against Manchester City last season?
Oh, yeah.
Where he switched to a 4-4-2 diamond to control the midfield?
Yeah, completely threw Guardiola's team off balance.
It's like he's always one step ahead,
Yeah.
anticipating his opponent's moves and countering them.
He's got a plan A, B, and C.
And he's not afraid to switch gears mid-game.
Absolutely. And that's where Liverpool's squad depth comes into play again.
Right.
He has so many options at his disposal.
Yeah.
He can bring on players who can change the game in an instant.
Right.
Whether it's a defensive stalwart,
Right.
a creative midfielder,
Mm.
or a goal-scoring threat like Núñez.
So to wrap it up,
Yeah.
Liverpool's success is built on relentless pressing, fluid attacking movement, midfield control,
Right.
and that tactical flexibility from
It's a
Quantum.
potent combination.
That's made them one of the most feared teams in Europe.
And as we said,
Yeah.
they've got a genuine shot at the title.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into Liverpool's title push.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
We've analyzed their recent form, explored their strength,
We talked about the challenges they face.
and dissected the key elements of their playing style.
Absolutely.
But the biggest question remains,
What's that?
can they maintain this momentum
Yeah.
and achieve ultimate glory?
Only time will tell.
It's going to be a thrilling ride for sure.
For Liverpool fans and neutrals alike.
So keep your eyes peeled as the Premier League season unfolds.
Yeah.
Liverpool's blend of tactical brilliance, individual talent, and unwavering determination makes them a force to be reckoned with.
A force to be reckoned with.
And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, this will be the year they reclaim their place at the summit of English football.
It just might be.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.